I said, I don't give a shit about the numbers. I don't care. I'll talk about them. But the only reason I'll even talk about his numbers is because he's passing the main test for me. And that's the eye test. The Browns suck. They're 3-9. We're probably going to be getting a new head coach next year. We need all new receivers. We need all new offensive line. The only test that matters from here on out the rest of the season is the eye test. Does Shedeur Sanders look like an NFL quarterback? Does he look like he can play in this league? Because I'm telling you, if you're just going to look at numbers, his completion percentage isn't up with this guy or that guy. We don't have receivers. We drop passes all the time. We don't have good blocking. We don't have good coaching. We don't have good scheme. We don't have anything.
The Cleveland training ground is once again buzzing with energy, and the entire team is out there pushing themselves to their limits as they get ready for the next major game. One position, the quarterback position, is currently the focus of everyone's attention. Shedeur Sanders has returned to the first team after suffering a defeat the previous week, and he is working out more diligently than ever before. It is impossible to ignore Shedeur's presence from the very first moment that the camera is taken. He exuded an air of unadulterated self-assurance. The throws that he makes are nothing less than flawless, accurate, clear, and right on the money. For him, this is not merely a practice session. It is a chance for him to demonstrate that he is the right person. Shadur is able to maintain his composure despite the intense competition out there. While it's possible that other people will buckle under the pressure, he's making it abundantly clear that he should be included in the QB1 conversation. The fundamentals, the group warm-ups, which are designed to get the blood flowing and the muscles loose, are where it all begins. On the other hand, things begin to heat up and become more intense when he moves into individual drills. When Shadur entered those one-on-one drills with the receivers, it was immediately apparent that he was not merely going through the motions of trying to improve his performance. With each throw, the placement was impeccable. It did not matter whether the receiver was close by or far away from him. His accuracy was impeccable in every situation. He did not overthink his mechanics, and his throws were smooth and precise. There was no doubt in his mechanics. Power was not the only thing that he relied on. After each drop back, his timing, dexterity, and understanding of the play stood out as particularly impressive. During the time that the first team reps were being given, Shedeur Sanders started to really differentiate himself from the other competitors. In the course of this portion of practice, any lingering uncertainties regarding his potential were completely eliminated. Each and every pass that he threw was deliberate. The ball was not simply being thrown by him. Rather, he was analyzing the defense, making snap judgments, and delivering the ball with pinpoint accuracy. The moment that truly blew everyone away was when Shadur released a masterpiece of the highest caliber. Due to the fact that the pocket was getting closer, he quickly sidestepped the pressure by making a quick move, reset his feet, and then fired a deep strike down the sideline that was perfectly aimed at his receivers and landed in perfect stride. As well as the timing, the touch, and the precision. It exemplified the definition of a highlight throw that a quarterback would make in a textbook. Next, he continued to keep the momentum going with a string of flawless throws. Shadur was in the zone, and he was able to deliver passes as if they were easily accomplished. Every one of them landed softly and perfectly into the grasp of his receivers, and they were all smooth, accurate, and impossible to catch. At each and every pass, it appeared as though it was on a mission, specializing in its target, as well as the fact that it was obvious that no defense could stop these throws. The subsequent action that Shadur took was a brilliant example of misdirection. Despite the fact that the pocket was beginning to collapse, he maintained his composure and took a step back in order to give the impression that the defense had him trapped. But this is where things get really interesting. In order to throw off the defenders and buy himself that crucial extra fraction of a second, Shadur made a subtle hand movement that was almost invisible in order to fake one direction instead of the other. The next throw was even more impressive than the one that came before it. Shadur found himself in a difficult situation because he was surrounded by defenders, each of whom was competing for position, and the pocket was narrowing in on him. To force a throw or risk a hit, the majority of quarterbacks would have attempted to do either. Meanwhile, Shadur remained unfazed. His attention was drawn to something that others had overlooked, and he did not panic or scramble. Because the defense was so preoccupied with the chaos that was going on around him, they were unable to locate his receiver. When Shadur took a quick look at the field, he noticed that his man was perfectly positioned on the far left side of the field, ready to break free. The arm was not the only thing that Shedeur Sanders relied on. He demonstrated his footwork and his ability to remain calm under pressure. During the subsequent repetition, he found himself in a precarious situation, as the pocket was collapsing and defenders were getting closer. When it came to making a clean throw, there was no room. However, rather than forcing a pass or taking a sack, Shadur attempted to do something that the majority of quarterbacks struggle with when faced with similar circumstances. Without losing his concentration, he bought himself some time. Shadur maintained his composure despite the pressure that was coming from every direction. The situation was quickly evaluated by him, and without any hesitation, he shifted his position to the left. It was not a desperate attempt to get away. The move was deliberate in order to get a better view of the field. He was able to establish a clear line of sight beyond the chaos by shifting laterally, which allowed him to clear the clutter that was surrounding him. Shedeur Sanders continued to demonstrate his versatility in a variety of ways.
In order to show how well-rounded his game is, he took it to the next level by employing some devious moves that highlighted his versatility. During a particular repetition, the situation took an unexpected turn, and it left everyone on the field, including the coaches, in a state of shock. To everyone's surprise, Shadur did not throw the ball after receiving the snap. Rather, he executed a move that no one had anticipated. There was not a single second of hesitation on his part before he handed the ball over to a defensive tackle who was standing just next to him. It's true, you did hear that correctly. A tackle for the defense. In no way was it an error. The whole thing was a part of the plan. Now that he had possession of the ball, the tackle made a break for it down the field, weaving through the crowd of players and utilizing his momentum to make a dash for the end zone. It wasn't the end of the story, though. Everyone is going to remember the moment that they did their last rep of the day for a very long time. The pressure that Shedeur Sanders was under was significant. He was surrounded by the defense, which was closing in from all sides, and it appeared as though there was no way for him to escape. At the same time that the pocket was rapidly disintegrating, defenders were coming in from all directions, and the tension can be felt. This was one of those crucial moments with high stakes, and it was in this position that Shadur really came into his own. He maintained his composure in spite of the intense pressure that was all around him. While his receiver was within range, he calmly scanned the field, and he noticed that there was a significant risk, which was the possibility of an interception. The window of opportunity was narrow, and any mistake could have led to a turnover in the position. During first-team practice, Shedeur Sanders had an outstanding day, which helped him solidify his position as the starting quarterback and demonstrated why he is the leader the team requires. It was impossible to ignore his presence from the moment he stepped onto the field. The accuracy of his throws, the sharpness of his decision-making, and the flawlessness of his ability to read the defense were everything. He demonstrated his expertise and his command over the game in each and every rep, demonstrating that he is more than prepared to take on any challenge that may come his way. Shadur was able to maintain his composure and under pressure, effortlessly navigating tight situations and making throws with pinpoint accuracy. His poise and self-assurance were immediately apparent, demonstrating that he is not only capable of handling the responsibility of being the starting quarterback, but that he is also fully equipped to do so. In light of the fact that the Cleveland team is now shifting their attention to the Tennessee Titans, Shadur is more than enthusiastic about taking the initiative. It has been demonstrated through his performance in practice that he is able to handle the pressure, and when it comes time for the game, he will give it his all. Shedeur Sanders is locked in, and he is prepared to take on the Titans with force and determination to the fullest extent possible. The stage is set, and Shadur is prepared to shine once more in his role as quarterback. So, what are your thoughts on this matter? Is it possible for Shedeur Sanders to maintain this strong performance into the game against the Tennessee Titans? To what extent do you believe that he is prepared to handle the pressure of being the starting quarterback? Or do you believe that there is something else that he needs to demonstrate? I was wondering what your thoughts were on his performance in practice today. Did he go above and beyond what you anticipated, or did he satisfy all of your expectations? Your thoughts are welcome
in the comments section. The readiness of Shadur and the things he will bring to the field this week are topics that we should discuss.